Hello everyone, welcome to Leng Zai channel. I'm the one Leng Zai one, which is Sui Yuan.
And I'm Jahal. Today we are going to do a 10 ringgit challenge. Do you think that is possible?
No, I don't think so because we're at Bukit Bintang area.
So what? Without further ado, let's go! Okay, so now we are at lot 10 Putong and let's see what we can buy with 10 ringgit.
Wow, I think we cannot eat here now. 20 ringgit for one box sushi so expensive leh.
Never mind lah, let's go and look around.
But then this is my favorite leh.
Walao eh, so expensive one. Now you look there, that only 4 ringgit man.
So, how much you want to buy?
I think we can just buy this and just share lah.
Share. Okay lah, steady lor, share lor. Sure, steady lah.
Okay, so this is what we have got with 10 ringgit.
Hey, Jahal, don't talk so much lah. I'm so hungry. Can we eat first?
Sure,
Okay? Walao, finish now I still hungry leh. But then Jahal, I still remember during my secondary school I just used 2 ringgit to buy a box of sushi. But then now I need to pay 4 ringgit to buy a sushi. So expensive sia.
Well, this is because of inflation.
Inflation refers to the increase in the general price of the goods and services in the economy over a given period of the time. In Malaysia, inflation has become a major issue which can be observed especially during the post-pandemic era and the Russo-Ukrainian conflict. The inflation rate in Malaysia has been stable at around 2%, but then it jumped to 4.7% in 2022. This means that our money is lost than 4.7% of its value in just a year.
It is proven that moderate inflation rate can stimulate positive economic growth. However, when the inflation has gone out of control, such as in the case of hyperinflation, it will eventually hurt the standard of living, especially for the low-income household. Meanwhile, business will also be affected due to the increase in input prices. As a result, inflation will lead to economic problems, which can affect the economic growth of the country. Hence, we have created this video titled The Determinants of Inflation Rate in Malaysia to identify the factors that contribute to the inflation rate in Malaysia by using an econometrics model. There are a few theories suggesting the factors which influence the inflation rate. One of them is the structural inflation theory, which believes that the supply side of the economy is the main factor that drives the inflation. Under these theories, factors such as currency depreciation, increase in oil price and minimum wage, which increase the cost of production, will cause the firms to pass through the higher raw materials and labor costs to the consumer through a higher price level.
The demand pull inflation theory is another theory that strongly believes the excess aggregate demand is the main cause of the inflation. For example, any increase in the aggregate demand, such as government expenditure, household consumption, investment, and export stimulates higher spending due to the increase in the disposable income. However, when the supply cannot catch up with the demand growth, especially during full employment, the price level will tend to increase.
Another important theory is the Phillips curve, which graphically represents the negative relationship between the unemployment rate and inflation. For example, when an economy is at full employment, it indicates low unemployment rates and high disposable income, which leads to a higher demand for goods and services, resulting in the higher output prices and high inflation.
Moreover, monetary theory of the inflation proposes that there is a significant impact between the money supply and the inflation rate. According to the quantitative theory of the money, the product of the money supply and the velocity of the money is equal to the product of the price level and real GDP. Given a situation where the money supply is increasing faster than the actual output growth, it will eventually cause inflation in a country due to the excess money supply in the market depreciating its value.
In developing the economic model of inflation, we use the inflation rate in Malaysia as our dependent variable. For independent variables, we include the inflation rate in East Asia and Pacific, exchange rate, foreign direct investment, income per capita growth, and unemployment rate. So, this is our econometric model. Based on the economic theories of inflation, Asian, FDI, IPC will have a positive relationship with the inflation rate, while the exchange rate and unemployment rate will have a negative relationship. For data analysis, we have collected the data of all the variables from the World Bank Open Data between 1991 and 2020 in the period of 30 years.
By running the regression analysis using the ordinary least square or LS method, we get the following result with the regression model of with the adjusted R-square of 0.7888 or 78.88% of the variation in the inflation rate can be explained by our model. The F statistic of the all variables is 17.9280 with a p-value of 0.0000, indicating that our model is significant overall. The actual, fitted, and the residual graph is shown below. In order to check whether our model meets the classical assumption of the OLS, we have run a several diagnostic tests and found that our model does not suffering from the heteroscarcity, autocorrelation, and misspecification. Thus, it produced the best unbiased linear estimator of the inflation rate in Malaysia.
Now, let's see what is really affecting the inflation rate in Malaysia. Let's go!
Now we reach Dr. Donkey, which is one of the Japanese grocery store in Bukit Bintang.
So let's move around and look at the price.
Let's go!
What I'm doing.
Just now, I share with you. Just now, I saw news regarding the inflation happening in Japan. No wonder just now I go to Don Donki, the item is so expensive. No money for dinner,
Yeah, inflation in other country will also affect us. Based on the estimated regression, Asian, or the average inflation rate in East Asia and Pacific, has a coefficient of 0.6658, with a standard error of 0.1048 and p-value of 0.0000. Hence, we can infer that the inflation rate in East Asia and Pacific countries has a significant and positive relationship with the inflation rate in Malaysia.
Malaysia is a trade country where we have a high trade to the GDP ratio. Malaysia has been adopting liberal trading policy which emphasize on the regional and the bilateral trade agreements, but at the same time also impose some challenges to the fluctuation of the international market. The result aligns with the structural theory of the inflation. Fluctuation of the price in other countries, especially the trading partner of Malaysia, will be transmitted to the Malaysia through the various transmission channels and impact the price level in Malaysia indirectly through imported inflation. As an example, the increase in the price of the imported input will increase the production cost of domestically produced goods, leading to an increase in the price level in Malaysia. Hey, 大家好, I tell you just now I go there. To get these 2 Sing dollar, it cost me 6 ringgit and 60 cents. So expensive, I can eat a plate of chicken rice at UM, which is KK2.
Wow, yeah man, I remember just need to use 5 ringgit to get this 10 years ago.
So this shows the depreciation of ringgit Malaysia lah. That is the reason why all the Malaysians want to work in Singapore instead of working in Malaysia after their graduation. Because the ringgit Malaysia is keeping depreciate.
Yeah, do you know that depreciation in our currency will cause inflation more?
Based on the regression model, exchange or the exchange rate of the ringgit Malaysia to the US dollar has a coefficient of the 1.2582 with a standard error of 0.4085 and a p-value of 0.0051. Hence, we can infer that the exchange rate of the ringgit Malaysia to the US dollar has a significant and positive relationship with the inflation rate in Malaysia.
Malaysia has been adopting a free-floating exchange rate regime, which provides Malaysia with the flexibility to adjust to international economics and financial developments. However, this also implies that the volatility in the international market will be transmitted to the domestic price. So when the domestic currency depreciates, it causes currency to lose its values compared to the other currencies, which will translate to the higher cost as more local currency is needed to buy the same imported goods. Hence, firms will transfer the higher price of imported raw materials to the consumer through a higher price of the products, and this is called the exchange rate pass-through.
家好, you see here is Pavilion Bukit Bintang. You see there are a lot of the international brands. First one which is Celine, which is coming from Paris, and the next one which is Econometrics, which is coming from New York City, and the last one which is Ferrari coming from London.
There are indeed many foreign companies that investing in our country. So let's see how this company will affecting the inflation rate in Malaysia. Based on the estimated regression, FDI or the foreign direct investment has a coefficient of 0.2887 with a standard error of 0.1 and p-value of 0.0081. Hence, we can infer that the foreign direct investment has a significant and positive relationship with the inflation rate in Malaysia.
Malaysia has been open to the foreign direct investment as a strategy to stimulate economic development. Today, Malaysia's economy is largely powered by the foreign direct investment in terms of the capital accumulation and the knowledge transfer. However, the increase in the FDI can also increase the inflation rate in Malaysia. This can be explained by the demand pull theory of the inflation. Since the foreign direct investment increase the aggregate demand, there will be an excess demand when the economy is already at its full capacity and the aggregate supply cannot grow furthermore to meet the growing of demand. This will cause an inflationary pressure on the price level of goods, as too much money is chasing for too few goods.
Guys, do you know that the income per capita will affect the inflation rate in Malaysia?
So I'm gonna to ask a lot of people at here regarding their monthly income. Excuse me, miss. May I know how was your monthly income per month?
5,000 a month.
Oh, 5,000 a month. Excuse me, sir. May I know how was your monthly income per month?
4,000.
4,000 a month. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. Hello, sir. May I know how was your monthly income?
About 5,000.
Oh, 5,000. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. Based on the estimated regression, IPC, or the growth in the GDP per capita, has a coefficient of 0.1027 with a standard error of 0.0435 and p-value of 0.0266. Hence, we can infer that the growth in GDP per capita has a significant and positive relationship with the inflation rate in Malaysia.
This can be explained by the theory of demand pull inflation. When the income per capita grows rapidly, it increases the disposable income and purchasing power among the consumers. However, if the increase in aggregate demand outstrips the growth in supply, it might be harmful to the economy as there will be a shortage which will eventually lead to the inflation.
Hey, 家好, what are you doing?
Oh, so I'm doing an online research regarding the unemployment rate. So I found that there is a relationship between the unemployment rate and the inflation rate. So let's take a look. Yeah. Based on the estimated regression, UR, or the unemployment rate, has a coefficient of negative 1.3355 with a standard error of 0.4032 and p-value of 0.0029. Hence, we can infer that the unemployment rate has a significant and negative relationship with the inflation rate in Malaysia.
This aligns with the Phillips curve, which suggests a negative correlation between the unemployment rate and the inflation rate. When there is an increase in the aggregate demand, which leads to the rapid economic growth and a low unemployment rate, firms need to offer higher nominal wage to attract new staff and retain the existing staff in order to meet the increased demand. This can lead to an increase of the disposable income, which drive the consumption level and the aggregate demand. At the same time, firms need to pass through the higher labor cost to the consumer through the higher price of the product, and there will be a wage push inflation. Yay! Finally, we have come to an end to this video.
So, can you conclude what is the determinant of inflation rate in Malaysia?
So the first one, which is the inflation rate in the East Asia and the Pacific, and the second one, which is the unemployment rate, and the third one, which is the income per capita growth, and the fourth one, which is the foreign direct investment, and also the last one, which is the Ringgit Malaysia exchange rate.
So now we have known that the inflation rate in Malaysia is not only affected by the domestic factors, external factors also play a significant role influencing the inflation rate. As Malaysia's economy has been open to the international trade, technology transfer, and foreign investment. So that's all from us.
Hope to see you soon.